Hello, Roy.
Hi, Rob. How are you?
I am good. We are back.
Good.
And I am sad. This is the last show.
This is the last show. But what an incredible week this has been. I mean, I don't know how much of it you've actually gotten to enjoy because you have to do your day job and you're the Wizard of Oz behind the curtain getting this fed over to your page, to the LMA page, to I don't know where it's shown up, YouTube, LinkedIn, and then on the conference floor itself. So I know that Andy and Kelly thanked you in the prior hour, but you really, what you have done for all of us, not just during the conference, but all year long, you really deserve so many medals, so many bottles of wine and vodka and whatever you prefer, and pool toys and Kermit the Frogs, whatever we can send you. But really, you have given so much to all of us. It's amazing, and you've been calm and kind throughout. So kudos to you.
Well, thank you. It is absolutely my pleasure to contribute whatever I can to this amazing community.
Well, you have, and you continue to do so. Have you been able to enjoy any of the conference at all?
Yeah, I did yesterday. I got to play a little bit with the one-on-one networking, which I was suspect of, but was a lot of fun.
Yeah, we popped up with each other at one point.
Yeah, we did pop up with each other at one point. But I got to see some other people that I don't see all the time.
Yeah.
And a few people that I don't know and had never met. So that was fun. And one woman I'd never met before, but as soon as I popped up, she's like, "You look familiar. Wait, coffee talk."
Good. So you're expanding your presence and awareness. Good. That's fantastic.
Of course, she then immediately logged off, but
well, there's a message in that. I don't know what to make.
Yeah, I'm not sure either, but no, not really. She stuck around.
Did you catch the comedian last night at all?
I did. I watched a little bit of the comedian last night.
So
I of course saw the fabulous talent show that you put on.
Thank you. I appreciate that. We had a good time, but the chat was on fire last night for the comedian. And if anybody's watching, this is for Patrick Fuller. There was a lot of ear tucking of his beautiful long hair throughout the course, and there was a hashtag that was trending that was double tuck skills, I believe, was the hashtag. So next year's talent show, whether it's virtual or online, we just need Patrick and his beautiful self to come on stage and just do this a few times. Adrian Lerson thought we had mind control because he was like, "Let's make Patrick touch his nose." Everybody. It didn't happen.
I did see some of that, and that was pretty funny. And I don't know how you guys keep up with that chat. It was just going a mile a minute.
Some shenanigans, I have to say. I just hope nobody went back and read it today. And it's not, and then it gets erased after all this is over. Hey, one final thing before we get to our guests, because that's really why we're here. This jacket was my grandfather's. It's probably reading all kinds of buzzy on screen, but I like to wear it every once in a while because it reminds me of him. It's even got these kind of old school labels in it.
Nice.
Yeah, nice. I mean it's probably 2 sizes too small for me now. I used to swim in it, but I love to wear it. It reminds me of him.
So the official term for that buzzy is moray, and it's not doing it. So
I'm giving no moray.
No moray. No moray.
No moray. It sounds like another language. I don't know what language.
Another language.
No moray. Stop.
Norma Ray. Wasn't that a movie?
Norma Ray.
Union. Like in the 70s about unions.
We have a debate tonight.
With the flying nun.
What happens to the two of us? We just start throwing out things. There is a debate tonight. Are we getting ready for it?
I am ready for the debate. We've got snacks and cheese, and we are ready to dig in and watch the car crash dumpster fire that these things are these days.
I don't think there's enough liquor in the world.
No.
With that, should we bring in our first guest?
I think we should.
You've given me 2 tongue twister guests.
Oh, I know. Both of us. And I mean, Joe is sort of new, but Amy we've known for a long time. And
I've known Joe for a while too. He, I always go to the vendor service provider floor and see what kind of free stuff I can get. So I've gotten to know Joe quite a bit because they always have good giveaways at Intro Hive. But Joe Przybyla, I said this at some other point on the.
Did we get it right?
I read names, but I don't always say them. Przybyla. Did I say it?
Listen, as a trained actor, you knew your line. You hit your line. You hit the spot, and you did it great.
So I
So
can
I
leave
have to
now?
confess something while we're here. It took me the longest time to not want to call Andy Laver Andy Laver.
Oh, that could be his code name when he has to go undercover. Andy Lapper. Gina Rubel is one of my closest LMA friends, and for years I would go, "Oh, my dear friend Gina Rubel," and I'm sure people were like,
I did the same thing. It's too
This-
funny because I did the same thing. So
"Not how she says it."
nope.
So Vanessa is very excited to see these interviews today. I'm glad we have somebody watching. She may be the only one. Thank you, Vanessa.
Hi, Vanessa.
And Roy, by the way, I feel like I should have driven over to Detroit, and I should have been just.
Oh no,
Joe.
This is life in 2020.
It is life in 2020. This is just.
Joe,
All right, so if you can hear us, there you go. He moved. He headed to another room.
He's coming to Detroit now.
Yeah, you know what? Like I was telling you, I should have just come to Ann Arbor. Sorry about this,
under
folks.
your couch? What's happening?
I'm in my living room. I'm just going to sit right
And
here.
of course, you were fine the whole time we had you sitting in the green room. You were fine the minute we bring you on screen.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Moving around.
No, I felt like I should have just come to Ann Arbor so we could have played some games. We could have sat at a table and we could have just chatted for a little while and had a good time.
But we would have had to have like a wall of plexiglass between all of us and
That's true. That's true.
true.
So apologize so everyone can get to enjoy my daughter's art behind me.
It's gorgeous.
So, well, she's 3, so she's in the prime of her career.
Her creativity.
Yeah.
Don't squelch it. Let it keep going. So
tell her legal marketing pays better than art.
Barely. Just a bit. So I think that Rob will disappear for a moment, and Joe, you and I can chat about your conference involvement and all things Intro Hive, and then we can go from there. Sound good?
Sounds great.
Great. Talk about yourself.
All right. We'll see you later, Rob. So Joe, thank you for joining us today. I know it has been a very energizing week, kind of manic, to be honest with you. But I said to my husband on Monday night, I'm more exhausted from a virtual conference than a real one, just trying to keep up with everything. What have been some highlights for you so far?
Oh, we've actually had a good time. We've had like 5 or 6 folks on our team joining the conference and just getting great information out of the sessions and really just hearing what people are going through during these times. You know, we've been part of LMA since I've been at Intro Hive, and I know they were part of it before, you know, and the conference is always a great time for everyone to get together and learn what's happening at all of the different firms. We hear the challenges, and particularly today, of trying to figure out, like, how do we get lawyers and our partners the right information? And so it's key for us to kind of understand what people are dealing with on a day-to-day basis.
Well, I'd be remiss as a international board member if I didn't thank you and thank Intro Hive for the support you've always shown the organization and your support of this effort. I know we were all scratching our heads a little bit when we said we couldn't have an in-person conference. We still wanted to add value both to the members who'd be attending the educational sessions and to our wonderful supporters and sponsors who need access to those folks and the ability both to have a listening and learning opportunity, as you just described, and also to tell people who you are and what you do. So I'm glad to hear that you've gotten value out of it. For people who don't know what Intro Hive is, I can't imagine there'd be anybody out there that doesn't, but why don't you give us, what's your elevator pitch on Intro Hive? What do you guys do, and what's new on the horizon?
Well, the good thing is that we have a lot of legal clients and professional services clients. So we've been able to really help folks address a couple key challenges that they're dealing with. One is just, especially during this COVID, you know, being locked down and being working from home, is who knows who? Yeah. Partners and attorneys just can't go into the office next door and say, hey, who do we know at US Bank? Hey, who did we meet with at Motorola a couple weeks ago? It's just not happening, right? And so being able to give that information to BD folks like yourself and marketing so they can go ahead and help the attorneys has been a godsend for many firms. Yeah. The second thing is what firms have asked us is we don't want to bother attorneys for anything. We just want to keep them out of the loop. We want a one-way information flow, and that's getting them great, reliable, accurate information. And so we give them a nice relationship intelligence report before they go into a meeting so they can kind of see what's happening. And then the third thing we do, and this is to your last question, like what's new, is that we have a product called Cleanse that keeps your CRM up to date. So you don't have to worry about partners updating their Outlook. We do it. We have an enrichment engine that's just fabulous, and we've gotten great client feedback. And so we're really excited that those products are helping them kind of keep CRM safe and sound.
Now, I had a boss when I was in healthcare, and she drummed into me, I haven't forgotten it, that acronyms, not everybody knows what an acronym is, and sometimes they aren't brave enough to admit that they don't. So I would suspect our audience knows what CRM is, but I have a very important question around that, because sometimes I say client relationship management, sometimes I say customer relationship management. What do you guys prefer?
I think it's industry specific. So,
Yeah.
outside of professional services, it's really the customer. And then within professional services, it's
and
client.
so I always have customer in my head from 10 years in healthcare.
Yeah.
We use Thomson Reuters. I don't know if it's a bad word, but they used to supply us data on the healthcare side, and that was my first exposure to that kind of a resource. And again, to sort of lay it out in layperson's terms, because you and I have had many conversations about IntroHive and what you do. The what distinguishes your product in my mind is you do map the relationships, and you're able to kind of go in and look through the e-communications, who knows whom, and give those kind of baseline connections between people that, like you said, and even in this instance where you might have offices across the country, out of pandemic, it's still beneficial because not everybody knows everybody yet. So to be able to say somebody in Los Angeles has a connection with a client, and that client is also of interest to somebody in Chicago, you can highlight that. And then you also have a news aggregation service, as I recall, where you can kind of supply custom reports. So on a daily basis, if an attorney wants to show that they're curating content but doesn't want to put the time into it, they can set something up, or their marketing team and BD team can help them do this, that they can have a report generally that they can send out to people that they're trying to support, either that they currently have as clients or would like to have as clients, and say, hey, here's some articles that might be of interest to you. Is that a fair description of some of what you can do?
Yeah, so that relationship, who knows who, is just our bread and butter, really, in terms of like supporting law firms. And it's a little different than what you'll see in other places, because we're trying to take away all those false positives where somebody walks into an attorney office and say, hey, do you know this person? And the attorney's like, no, I may have been BCC'd or CC'd on that. What we really are focusing on is getting that correct and making sure that we limit that through our machine learning algorithms. And also, more importantly, being able to determine a relationship strength based on somebody's role. So if you're a director of marketing or director of business development, you're going to have a higher rating if you're talking to the GC or C-level folks rather than the business analyst. And so regarding like bringing data together, that's really us providing what we call pre-meeting digest to the attorneys before they walk into their meeting. So they can say, hey, wait a second, somebody got forwarded my invitation. Why is the CTO coming to my meeting? Yeah. And so I can walk in there and maybe even bring somebody else from my team to say, this person is going to answer the question without being blindsided.
Well, I think that's so important. And hi, Jessica. We're getting some hellos we have Handsome Joe on the line. So we're getting all kinds of fans out there that want to say hello to you. But, I have found that attorneys will feel uncomfortable approaching people if they don't have something in hand. I think that's why they lean into, I need a sleeve of golf balls. I need to send a basket of cookies. And, those things can help sometimes, but for the most part, as a marketer, I find that it's not a resource that I can measure the effectiveness of as much. But what it does is it gives the attorney confidence. Now, what I think your resource does so much better is to say, you're going to go into that conversation informed about the person you're speaking with. And I think, as we heard in the GC panel this week, or general counsel, for those who don't know that, they don't want to go to a football game with an attorney. They want someone that is likable, that is accessible, that can digest information for them, and that understands their business and what they do. And it seems like your resource can be extremely effective in that way. So instead of buying a koosh ball that I give to the attorney to give to somebody to earn the conversation, they can go in there really informed about the prospective client and what they do. Is that fair?
Yeah, totally. We're working with a major West Coast firm, and one of the things that the attorneys like is being able to get a individual's Twitter feed in their pre-meeting digest, so they can kind of really hone in on that conversation and say, hey, I saw you tweet about this a couple weeks ago. What did you mean? Or I really like what you're trying to present on this argument, and being able to really give that personalized service, because as the GCs also say, is that these attorneys who are talking to their clients need to know their business. They need to know what's happening in their client's ecosystem, and what are the challenges. And so what we're trying to do is really give that attorney their best foot forward in cultivating their relationship.
That's important. And hi, Carmen. Carmen Akins from Texas says hello.
Hey,
so Carmen. I want to pivot for a little bit. I think you've done a nice job explaining IntroHive and some of the advantages of who you are and what you do. Let's turn back to the conference just for a minute. Were there any people you met that you had wanted to meet, or conversations that you wanted to have that you found were instructive? You talked about kind of the listening and learning and the ability to talk to folks in the trenches about what they're facing. Is there anything you're walking away from the conference with to go, there's an opportunity we want to follow up on, or some other information you plan to kind of use in your work?
Yeah, so I think the challenge as you walk into a conference that's virtual is like, I'm not going to meet anybody at the booth, right? It's going to be kind of just like, the sponsorship's not going to work. But what we've found is that people are dropping by and they want to kind of hear what's going on. We've been very fortunate to have a little bit of buzz about what we're doing, and our clients are really talking to their colleagues around the country. And so a lot more people are dropping by and wanting to have those follow-up conversations and scheduling a demo so we can really help them out. And through those conversations, we're getting some more insight into, hey, what are your challenges? Not everyone in legal has a CRM. And frankly, they don't have the time, the resources, or sometimes the money in order to implement a big CRM. So they're like, hey, can you help us out with just who knows who? Because that would really help me with holiday cards that are coming up in the next few months, or just being able to answer my attorney's questions. So for us, that's the conference. I mean, if there's one thing I've learned in 10 years is that a lot of people, we all know each other, and it's a very close community. And so just trying to keep track of what's happening in their organizations and what their challenges are, because technology lifespans in this industry are a little bit longer than most would like. And so it's kind of being able to, it's really trying to adapt to that and being able to provide a little bit extra value on top of what they currently have in order for their job just to be that much easier.
That's fantastic. Hi, Jim Jarrell. He just said hello to us. He said an amen, actually, to what you just said. So amen. Now, I should note, if anybody ever wants to include my Twitter feed in any reports, I discourage it. They're going to think I have split personality disorder. So, I would worry, you might want to just strike me from the rolls permanently if anybody ever wants me.
You're deleted.
But I know we just have a couple minutes before we get to our next guest, but I want to highlight a couple personal things for you. The artwork behind you is from your daughter, right? Your 3-year-old daughter. Tell us more about her.
Yeah, so her name's Amani, and she's fantastic. And I have technology issues in my kitchen. We're doing some remodeling in the house, so I'm not in my office today. So, but
I never have any technology issues. If you've paid any attention the last several days, I've had nothing but technology issues. Yeah. So I even had my iPhone out at one point, and then I have this shaky hand. So poor Kristen Bateman was, I was wobbling all over the place, and she was trying to get me on camera. So I think we can all relate to that. Ironically, because you're a tech person. And
everything works perfectly until you're either doing a demo or you're doing one of these live conferences, and you have to sit down with the computer on your arms.
Yeah, and you seem cool as a cucumber. You're probably not ever nervous, and I do a lot of this stuff, right? So you wouldn't think I'm nervous, but there is kind of an energy that you get right before you do it. And when something goes wrong technologically, you don't. I burst into tears. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what to do with this. It's just not working, So
well, I did have like two gray boxes with circles in the middle, kind of just telling me that I wasn't connected, and I was just saying, I didn't want what I was saying to go over the wire. Let's put it that way. Until I just sat in the corner in the living room.
Yeah, I often worry. The camera will work when I don't want it to, and it won't when I do want it to. I saw many spinning circles this week. One other thing. Now, this is fun because we were in the green room getting ready. None of us had known anybody who's done this. You've ordered a car from Carvana online, and it has to have certain size specifications because of your garage. And if it doesn't fit, I don't know what you're gonna do. Take it back like a pair of shoes. But you tell us about that, because I know it seems odd, but I am truly curious about the idea of buying a car in pandemic and not actually going anywhere, not test driving it, just getting it sight unseen, which should be in like a few minutes. Maybe it'll happen while we're on camera. But what was that like?
So 30 minutes, some guy, his name is Paris, he's going to be taking my car off a truck and backing it in, and I'm going to take a selfie with my driver's license so he knows it's me. And he's going to leave the keys in the car, and I'm going to leave the key from my car right next to it. And then we're going to do the switcheroo. Yeah. And I'm going to take the car, and I've never driven it. I have no idea what it's like, but it was 100% online. The financing, the trade-in, everything was done, and we'll see in 30 minutes if I like it. But don't worry, Roy. They have a 7-day return policy, and so in 7 days I can call them up and say, hey, I don't need it, I don't want it, and they come and pick it up. And but I don't think I'll have a car, so I think I should probably just like it.
Jennifer Tesso just said, my dream shopping experience, 30 minutes and done. I agree. My husband is a car nut. He's bought more cars sometimes in a single year than I have in a lifetime, and he works in the automotive industry. And I've told him most mere mortals hate going to the car dealer. We hate the approach, the sales technique, all of it. And he loves buying cars. He loves buying washers and dryers. Everything we hate buying, mortgages, he loves. And I said, you have a side hustle. You could do this for people like me and Jennifer, but maybe Carvana's already got an angle on it. But it's like, I hate that whole process. I don't like talking them out of the warranty, the upholstery protection. I hate all of that. So
yeah. And the last time I bought a car was 18 years ago. And all I remember was it was just a haggle. And I know that guy went back to the finance guy like 4 times.
Oh, yeah.
The price
the
a little
finance
bit lower.
Guy. There's no finance guy. They go around the corner and they count to 10, take a swig of whatever they're drinking, and then come back and go, oh, well, I had to really work in your favor.
Yeah.
Work really hard at this. You're a salesperson. You know, that's what they're doing.
So go to Carvana.com and get your next wonderful car.
Right. All right. Well, we've advertised Intro Hive. We've advertised your daughter's artistic ability, your lack of technical prowess in your own home. Sorry. Yep. And how to buy a car at Carvana. We've accomplished quite a bit.
We've done a ton. I appreciate your time, Roy.
Well, thank you for joining us.
Have a great conference, everyone.
All right, you too. Bye.
Bye-bye.
And next, we have Amy Verhulst.
Hi.
Did I do it right?
You did it just perfectly.
I have famously mangled your name forever.
No, it was great.
Verhulst. Is it German? What is it?
It's Dutch. My father-in-law would say, if you ain't Dutch, you ain't much.
Oh, is that what it really means?
No, it's Dutch.
Oh, so. I thought your last name meant if you ain't Dutch, you ain't much. You should just tell people that's what your last name means.
I'll tell them per my father-in-law.
Yeah, you let them know that we have decided today, Amy Verhulst. All of my European accents sound the same. Anytime I'm in a play and someone wants me to do an accent, they're like, I'm not sure what you are. Are you French, German, Italian? I don't know. I'm from the Midwest. We do what we can.
No.
So how are you, my dear friend? You are president of the Southwest region.
I am.
You are an ass-kicking woman from Texas.
Thank you.
You are Dutch. Apparently, I didn't know that. You also were part of the pre-con, which in 2020, a week ago, feels like 6 years. So you've forgotten you were even in the pre-con, but you presented there. It's dealer's choice. What would you like to talk about first? Would you talk about being president and what that tire fire has been like? Or would you like to talk about the pre-con and any kind of highlights from because you guys are one of the first to get on the platform and use it. You are pioneers. So, we're going to get to both, but why don't you pick what you want to talk about first?
Let's jump into pre-con. It's been excellent. The platform was easy to use. I loved engaging with the audience while we were presenting. To me, the pace was the only challenge, but I'll take that because the interactivity was still there. And so
what do you mean by pace? You mean there was a lag, or you mean all the stuff happening on sidebars?
The chat was just, and so that to me, that was a little challenging, but I'll take it because I was worried about the opportunity for engagement. And nope, it was there. And then coming into actually being a conference attendee, I found the platform in some ways offered more opportunity,
Yeah.
engagement and connection. So, being a presenter and not knowing what I was walking into with the virtual platform, now I get it, seeing both sides, but, oh, okay, this is great. People, no fear, oh, go ahead and ask questions along the way. And as I'm presenting, this chat box is doing this number, and I'm like, oh, okay, actually, pause, so.
Well, and if you were misfortunate enough to have me, is it unfortunate or misfortunate? I don't know. If I was in a session with you, the chat box was that much worse, because I think I'm Stephen Colbert and I'm not. And I'm riffing on stuff. And the last session, the speaker turned and said, well, I'm going to look at the chat. And I literally typed, oh, crap, because there were questions in there, but there was a lot of other stuff.
Yeah, well, that's engagement, and engagement is good. So we understand.
Yeah. And for those that don't have the benefit of seeing what we're seeing, this platform that is being used by Legal Marketing Association for the conference this year, it really is, it's overwhelming. And you do have to, it is physically laid out like a real life conference. There's a ballroom, there are breakout rooms, and you can move yourself from place to place. And then once you're there, people like us pop up in Brady Bunch boxes.
Yeah.
And then on the right-hand side, there's just this ongoing, my mom would call it toilet paper roll, of just comment upon comment, and people can at each other, and you're like, oh, I think someone's talking to me. And it's great, but I can only imagine as a presenter, you're going, I really want to engage there. I miss the physical interaction of having people in an audience I can point to a hand. And I think it does a really good job approximating that. And I feel far more energized from this experience than I thought I would. And I have looked forward to each day. And I'm on the board, and I'm supposed to go rah-rah, right? I was looking at this going, oh boy, 4 days of being online with everybody. Somebody shoot me. But it will never take the place of, but I agree with you. There have also been some enhancements that are inadvertent. Like, I feel like it forces you, like that chat roulette where you go, by the way, Tanya Riggin says hello. Hi, Tanya. See, this is what I mean. It's like, somebody just pops up and you have 4 minutes to talk to them, and you really have to be focused. And if it's somebody you don't know, you want to go, I don't want to talk about me, I want to hear about you.
Right.
But when you're in a cocktail party, you got people coming at you and people you want to catch up with, you haven't seen in a long time. And it really forces a more authentic conversation.
Yes.
And the social stuff too, because I think we've all suffered through Zoom social stuff, right? And you're like, this is no fun. They've done such a good job. And I'm not talking about the talent show, because I obviously was involved in that, but the other stuff has been actually fun, really fun. So it's been great. And the PC panel, I hope they keep that format even in person. I like it. I liked I'm general counsel and I'm in-house, and let me talk to you about your needs, as opposed to here are global questions and we go bouncing head down the couch. So
yeah, and it was super easy to be helpful in there. Like, I could see somebody chatting about something, and I'm like, oh, I'm a solo in-house. Here, let me connect with you. Hey, so-and-so, we can line, and to add to not necessarily what the presentation was about, but somebody made a comment or a question, and I'm like, contribute direct to his or her situation. And if we were 100 people in a ballroom, I wouldn't know who that person was in the room to offer my services or offer my advice afterwards, unless we accidentally bumped into each other on the doors on the way out.
That's right. And I am visually oriented, and that's why social media has been so helpful to me after these events. But I will sometimes pull up my phone to go on LinkedIn and connect with that person right then, which seems rude. And here you can do that. And also I have a sense of memory. I remember the name, I remember the face. And so it's a very interesting approach. And, hopefully we will maintain some of the learnings from this in the future. Hopefully we can all leave our homes someday.
Yes.
That would be nice. So tell me about being president of the Southwest this year. My heart goes out to everybody who is an LMA president this year. Megan McKeon is a very close friend of mine. We work together, and I know she had big aspirations for what she was going to do as a Midwest president. I assume you did too. I know Jill did as our international president. I have in moments with people where I know they're like, why am I doing this? I'm like, but you needed to be here now because you're the person who, your legacy, you don't realize that you had ideas. Maybe you didn't get to effectuate those, but what you have done in terms of transforming this organization in midst of crisis is going to have a positive legacy going forward. But we don't know it right now. Just like this conference, we've had to do this, but we've picked up some new things. We're like, I had no idea that could be so much better. What has your experience been like? Thank you for being president, by the way. And what has your experience been like?
Well, it definitely wasn't what I expected back in January when I started my first term. But I mean, I'll be really honest. I don't feel slighted at all. I had a moment probably right around March 15th where I had a boohoo session, if you will. Yeah. And then I just picked myself up and looked back at the why that my board defined for ourselves in our transition meeting back November 2019, and looked at that and said, yeah, we still stand for this. Yeah. Looked at our board goals and said, yeah, we can pretty much do these in a different way. Mm-hmm. So we're going to carry forward. And honestly, I'm the type of person that says, you know, exactly what you just said. You took the words right out of my mouth. I was meant to be here this year. This was meant to be my year, and this was meant for me to carry forward. So there's been some challenges, but it's just been, I'm not normally a status quo type person. It's meet the challenge and engage your resources and get it done. And I am so fortunate to be serving with the people on my current board and on my current local steering committees.
You've got a great group there.
Hands down, bar none. Amazing group of people. The people we have coming up next year, same thing. Yeah. We have what I call the active bench of folks that are ready to step into leadership, which is amazing and a testament to the folks my predecessors who have helped build that, and to our membership committees, and the folks and our volunteers who, you know, and our members who are interested in serving and being active in this organization. And, you know, together we can meet any challenge.
Yeah. And you guys have not that all of our regions don't, but you have a strong family and a strong through line down there that I think is something we want to replicate. Vanessa just said, very poignant moment for our LMA leaders. So grateful for Amy. And it's true. You know, and I have observed, because we had grand plans as treasurer-elect, I would really connect with the LSCs in the regions. And then, you know, and I was going to say, if you don't like status quo, well, 2020 is the year for you, Amy.
Well, and what I mean by that is I'm not one to sit back and say, you know, oh, well, we've always done it that way. Don't get me wrong, that pops in my head quite often, but I'm often one to be like, well, why?
Well, whatever spirit in the sky you believe in said, okay, hold my beer, I'll show you.
Sorry about that.
You're patient zero. You're the one to blame for all this. Thanks, Amy Verhulst. No. Remember that, Amy Verhulst. It's her fault. But no, Brenda Plowman, who is just nothing but grace personified, and I'm so glad that she's going to be president-elect because she's incredible. I've learned so much. In her role, she's treasurer, I'm treasurer-elect, and I was going to be Robin to Batman and go meet with the LSCs in the regions, and then it was like, oh, the world's on fire, and we didn't get to that till like July. But it's life, right? But once I started to have those conversations with people, it's so clear to me, and I've tried to be then an advocate for that back to the board and everybody. We have so much going on. The locals and the regions are where people experience LMA most fully. And a lot of people have firms that don't have budgets to send them to conference and to go to some of the things we get to do. So we have to really be mindful about the tools and the resources we're giving those folks. And I'm hopeful if we've learned a valuable lesson from this year, and we're dealing with that, trying to figure out the budget for next year. It'll be ready by March. I'm kidding, just a joke. See, I joke about things and people don't understand. I said, I'm going to repeat this. Somebody gave me a hard time because I said I don't understand forecasting because I was joking because I'm a theater major. And this person then said to somebody else, is he going to be a very good treasurer? I'm concerned. I'm like, I'm going to be a lousy treasurer, but I'm going to be a good leader and I'm going to listen and I'm going to bring in the people who know what they're doing. So don't worry about it. But, you know, we have to have a budget and resources if we can figure it out that allow people. No, we're not going to spend $1 billion next year, but how can we give people the tools and resources to add value at the local level? Now more than ever, those connections are important. And I know you bleed that, your board bleeds that, and it's heartening to see. So I've been like a little magpie going from place to place going, oh, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. That's a good idea. You know, if we get 30% of those more universally applied,
Right.
That's success. And I think we also have to give ourselves a break as volunteer leaders. There are a lot of people eating popcorn, watching what we're doing with a tweet ready. And that's what we signed up for. But it's volunteer leadership. And you have to, David Ackert has this thing about working in a law firm, which is just write 3 things on your pad of paper, because that's all you're getting to in a day. And I would almost say if you're an LMA leader, write 1 thing down on your piece of paper and get that done. And then know that you're being responsive to the other things that come your way. And you'll be amazed at how much you actually got done from your original agenda if you're listening to people. So,
right. Yeah. And our board, actually, we have a good, I guess, tradition, if you will, that we started, I want to say 3 years ago with Jessica Jaramillo when she was president, carried it forward when Morgan Horowitz was president. And now we're carrying it forward when I'm president. We read a book every year when we do our transition. And so we're reading a book this year. Our book this year is Find Your Fire by Terry Broussard Williams. She's actually a colleague of mine that I knew back when I lived in Austin, Texas. And we're reading this book together for our upcoming leadership transition and training meeting. It actually gives you the tools. It's for fire starters, so that your inner change maker, right? It's taking a moment in time and turning it into a movement. And so we're going to take that from, setting your, something we do all the time, right? Whether it's in your job, in your personal life, you set goals, right? You use resolutions, goals for your business for 2021, whatever it is, goals for the board for 2021. You set goals. Well, if you don't set an action plan, right? Don't we all love doing this? I mean, some of us geek out on it. Some of us are like, right? Well, Terry has a formula in here, and also she has some really inspiring stories to go along with it. And so this is the book we chose for this year. Little did I know when I first kind of looked at this, and our incoming president, Sheila Sheely, and I, kind of looked at it and considered it. I mean, it touches on all aspects. It's got DEI in here. It's got, actually, being a change maker and moving the ball forward, and all these things that are so perfect for this moment in time. And so that's what we're doing this year to empower our people, not just for board work, but take this and apply it to other parts of your life. And that's something that's personal for me, and something that I like to gift forward. And
I think that's an important principle of leadership. And thank you, Jessica, who just said, I truly love you. I love you too. But Brenda and I've talked about that a little bit. We want people that have the ability to take on the leadership role, or at least to develop the chops, but we also want this to be a learning opportunity for them.
Right.
I am not a captain of high finance. For those listening at home, be prepared. I am not. But I think I'm a good communicator. I think I'm a good builder. And I want the challenge and the opportunity, and where better than in a volunteer role to learn and grow in that capacity. So I love that you guys have a piece of literature or business text that you share, because also that becomes a common language. You've been through cohort learning. I have too, my MBA, some local leadership groups, and that helps. Sometimes it's the content of the book, and sometimes it's just that you all read the book at the same time. And you could almost be reading To Kill a Mockingbird or Alice in Wonderland, and you're going, okay, this is what I got out of it. I mean, my mom taught me, there was a program out of Chicago called the Great Books Program that she used to teach at my school. And it was like kids that really had an affinity for learning. Part of the learning was talking about the text. What did you get out of it? How has it shaped you? How has it evolved your thinking? And what a great foundation to build on that you can all come back to. And when you have a difficult conversation, you all come back to the book. When you have something exciting, you come back to the book, and that's great. And I would hold that book up again for people that might be.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. It's called Find Your Fire.
They're everywhere in 2020. Everything you say reminds me of what a hell of a year this has been. Find Your Fire. It's probably next door. I'm not making light of fire. We've had fires too. Sometimes I make jokes and I'm like, oh wait, California actually had fires. I'm sorry. So let's turn to the personal just for a minute. How have you survived pandemic? I mean, what's kept you sane?
Just having a good, strong core family values, faith, taking some time, taking some breathers, exercise, learning to press pause, friends. I have a core group of folks. I've got some text groups. A couple of us have jumped on some Zooms and had little connection parties. I have a good group of coworkers. We haven't worked together in 6 years, but we still we have a Zoom now every Friday at 2:30.
Yeah.
You find me. I'm talking to them. And we may be talking about you, not you, but other people. And
You talk about me. That's fine. They'll go, who? The one with funny jacket. Oh, that guy.
That guy. No. But you know, we get together and we don't skip a beat. And it's those kinds of connections and sharing and, you know, armchair therapy, if you will, you know, with non-licensed people, but people who know you and care about you and are there for you and have your back and can share your experiences and help you through things. That's really what has gotten me through. And a good, but making a note of it to get some good sleep, get some good rest, eat the right things every now and then, because a good treat is a good treat. We have my kids have gotten hooked on Dairy Queen blizzards, so we eat a blizzard a week, and it's a good thing.
Does Uber Eats deliver those, or you venture out in your hazmat suit and get one?
We venture out in our hazmat suits for those, but
it's fair.
You know, we've got one trusted. We have one trusted Dairy Queen, and we like those.
Well, you are a delight. I just love you dearly. I always have, and I think to your point, there are times. This is for me getting to do this stuff that Rob has invited me in for some crazy reason or other. You and I have had a longer, deeper conversation than we've probably ever had in the several years we've known each other. And yes, it's performative. Yes, there are people watching, but it's still, you know, it's nice. You just feel like, okay, you and me, we're talking to each other as opposed to, you know, 18 people in a room. So I love that too. So let's bring Rob back, and we'll go into the wrap up. Hi, Rob.
Hi, I'm back.
Hey, Rob.
Welcome back.
Hi, guys.
So, Rob, any words of? I have a surprise myself. So wait. But any words of wisdom that you have for wrap up 2020?
This is, as always, been just so much fun. I think this is our third or fourth year doing Facebook Live stuff. Andy and I started at a Philadelphia conference a few years ago, and next thing you know, we were at Nationals and doing it. It's become a staple, and it is just so much fun for me. And lots of people that we couldn't have done it without. Certainly our audience. I thank everybody who takes the time to watch these, and you know, I hope you're all enjoying them. The ACI team, especially Jessica Bing, who has had my back through all this and through that whole thing, is texting saying, "You forgot to turn the sound on in the platform," and just really keeping me on top of things and helping figure out who the guests should be and who our hosts should be, and everybody who's appeared on here with us, all the people who jumped in and have hosted episodes. You guys were fantastic. I'm just amazed that every single LMAer picks this up and just naturally interviews people without hitting a bump.
It's an amazing talent.
And just some great interviewees. This is just such a smart group of people. It just always amazes me at just how incredibly smart our LMA family is. So
well said. And shout out to our conference co-chairs, John and Kristen and Jill, our president, and the planning committee. You outdid yourselves. It was
absolutely
just incredible. Christy and the conference team, as you noted. Rob, I've told this story a few times. I'll tell it quickly. I met you first in San Diego, and you just popped up, and you're like, I want to be part of things. Can I interview you? And just 5 years later, here you are, part of the firmament of this organization. I joined in 2011. I went to 2 or 3 conferences with my rumpled khakis, feeling very out of place. And, I would have never guessed 9 years later I'd be doing this stuff, or that they'd have me let my freak flag fly for a talent show. And I do think that's a really lovely quality in this organization. Yes, there are circles of friends and things like that, but there is a path for everyone. Amy, you probably have a similar story. I mean, you're an exceptional leader of the organization. You will continue to be. You will continue to rise into other roles. I'm certain of that. And I think that's, when we think about what LMA gives people, yes, there's the educational element. But again, the ability to grow into roles, be yourself authentically, and to become a stronger leader is just the best. To my fellow hosts during the regular week, Tahisha and Jessica and Andy, it's great to be part of this team. Stephanie Marone, you blazed the path. You did this first with Rob, and you did it every day for like 6 weeks or something. And thank you for that. If you happen to be watching, we're grateful to you and your voice in this community too, and to everybody. So I do have, I'm sure you're surprised, a song that I think is a good place to go out on, if I may. Rob's like, can I stop you?
Do it.
This is from a musical on the town, and it's Leonard Bernstein in Crowdon and Green, and it's one of my mother's favorites, and it's actually one of mine. I'm cheating a little bit. I've got the lyrics, but I think I remember them. It's just a short piece. Where has the time all gone to? Haven't done half the things we want to. Oh, well, we'll catch up some other time. This day was just a token. Too many words are still unspoken. Oh, well, we'll catch up some other time. Just when the fun is starting, comes the time for parting. But let's be glad for what we've had and what's to come. There's so much more embracing still to be had, but time is racing. Oh, well, we'll catch up some other time. I didn't know I'd get choked up.
Oh,
So,
that was
thank you.
beautiful.
Thank
That
you.
was terrific. And we woke Baxter up.
Oh, good. That's really what my singing does. It wakes up dogs. Hi, baby. Oh, look at that. That's the image we should part on. But thank you again, Rob, for all you do. Amy and Joe. I hope Joe's probably getting his car right now. I hope so.
Thank you.
Amy, you're an absolute doll, and we love you dearly. Thank you for joining us here on the final
Thanks
element.
for being part of the final show, and
Thanks for having me.
give you a quick give us a quick plug for the upcoming Southwest YHA.
Absolutely. October 29th, 6 p.m. Central, Southwest Region, Your Honor Awards, live right here on the LMA Facebook page, produced by Kate's Media. Come in your fabulous, spirited Halloween wear, or just be spirited. We're going to be honoring our members. We have lots of awards to give out. We are super excited. We want to see everybody there. Roll with us to our after party, trivia, more awards, prizes. We're super excited.
That's fantastic. Sounds like fun. Everybody join.
Enjoy the rest of the conference, everybody. There's still a couple of hours of sessions and some more one-on-one networking. If you haven't tried it out, I'm going to say again, it's a lot of fun. So go do that. And the rest of us, the Coffee Talk team, will be back next week on our usual days with surprise guests and lots of fun.
We have no plan. That's why, because we're exhausted.
We sort of have a plan, but we'll see you then. Enjoy the rest of the conference, folks.
Bye.